Hey guys, welcome back. In this video we are looking at Say It Ain't So by Weezer. A very popular choice, one that gets picked a lot by my students, and just for good reason. A lot of fun to play, lots of good things to work on here. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to go over these chords briefly. A lot of the song is, majority of it really, C sharp minor 7. I'll go over it in more detail in a second. G sharp major, A major, and E major. And sometimes I'll play that E major over here as a bar chord. So let's go over those in a little bit more detail. C sharp minor 7, 5-string chord going from thickest to thinnest. Fret numbers are 4, 6, 4, 5, 4. C sharp minor 7. G sharp major, standard bar chord here. From thickest to thinnest here, 6 to 1, 4, 6, 6, 5, 4, 4. Same thing on the A major, you just scoot it up a half step to frets 5, 6, and 7. And then good old standard E major chord there. Or the alternative, I'll talk about why I use that, but I'm using a finger 3 bar, not barring with my index finger. This is typically how I get to these bar chords, but string 5 fret 7 with the first finger, and then finger 3 is barring. Strings 4, 3, and 2 at the 9th fret. So that's another E major chord there. So we're using those chords for the intro and the verse. When we get into the chorus, power chords. That's when the distortion goes up, right? So C sharp 5, 4, 6, 6. G sharp 5, 4, 6, 6. A5, 5, 7, 7. And E5, open 2, 2. Okay? So it's good to, even if you're not working specifically on, like through a riff within the song, to just practice getting in and out of those chords, because you're going to need that control. There's other little things that are happening here that are going to make life a little bit more difficult if you're not familiar with those chords, okay? So on the intro, we are starting off with a bar at that 4th fret, and I'm going to hammer on into the C sharp minor 7 chord, okay? So fingers 2 and 3 is kind of our second hit. I'm just strumming down and then hammering on fingers 2 and 3 in their respective positions for that C sharp minor 7 chord, and then I strum down and up. So I get that last up hit, little accented. Okay. G sharp. Now here I'm not playing the full bar chord because I'm going to need an open string here. One thing I should have mentioned is I am not dropped down a half step like they are in the recording. So there is a version on YouTube where the pitch is shifted, or you can do that on your own if you have the track. But I opted not to tune down, so just a heads up. All right, so G sharp major chord. I'm only pressing down strings 6, 5, 4, 3. So I'm going to strum it, and then I have to arpeggiate those notes, but the open second string is going to be part of that. Right there, and that's where that little biting note comes from. And that's the rhythm. Ba, 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 ba. And then I'm going to strum that and slide into my A chord. So that's kind of the same rhythm as, it is the same rhythm. Okay? And then we're just going to end on an E chord. So putting that together, again. Now you may not play it the same way every single time, but it's good to have consistency to fall back on. But you know, when you're really comfortable with something and you're hearing it well, improvising rhythms becomes a very intuitive thing where you're just grooving with the song and you're not overthinking how you're going to make it fit. Things just kind of start to happen, which is certainly the case with artists who are playing their music over and over. You know, there's going to be little nuanced changes. So working on that hammer-on is something to single out. And the most important thing there is going to be thumb position, the amount of pressure that you're using, and position of that hand, you know, and that includes the thumb. If the thumb is in the wrong position, then everything gets kind of wonky on the fretboard side. So you want to try and find balance for that hand and just play around with the hammer on it. It should be a light touch, especially on electric guitar. I'm not moving much, right? And then again, when I get to that G sharp major, not barring with that index finger, and then picking through the little arpeggio. And what I tend to do is down, down, up, down, up. It might feel like it makes more sense to go down, 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 which could work. But I think you always find benefit in using a little bit of alternate picking in there. It just, once you have it built in to your muscle memory, things will flow a lot easier where you're not taking your hand in the opposite direction of where you actually need to be going, and that's where people run into trouble. Okay, so that riff is going to happen a couple times in the intro, and right after the first one, you get this little fill, open 6 string, 9 to 11 there, hammer on string 5. And then a little hinge bar with the index finger pressing down strings 4 and 3 at the 9th fret. And then just drag that and slide. And you're back into the intro. Now there's a couple other licks that come in that accompany that that whole intro chord progression and the way that's being played later on in the song, but I'm just going to cover it right now because we're already talking about it. So you're going to start out with that riff. Go to your alternative E chord. Now this fill is, or lick, sorry. So I'm just going to go ahead and walk through that in detail. String 6 open, and then string 5 fret 9 to 11 hammer on, hinge bar, string 4 and 3 fret 9, back to string 5 fret 11, string 4 and 3 fret 9, hold that, strum it again, and do a grace note hammer on. One more strum in there. I hit that one more time and then grace note hammer on. Then I shift my index finger to the 9th fret of strings 2 and 3. Right there, and then back to string 4 fret 11. Then I jump fingers 2 and 3 here. This is string 3 fret 11, string 2 fret 10. And slide it up 2 frets, and then back. I'm going to put my first finger back on and do a little hammer on pull off. And I'm still strumming strings 3 and 2. String 4 fret 11, fret 9 hinge bar on strings 3 and 2, and hinge bar on strings 4 and 3 fret 9. So all together slowly. The way your fingers move there is super important, right? So if you haven't ever done anything like this before, take small steps. I mean, you can also just not worry about it and get the other stuff down first, because this is a little bit more complicated movement. You know, it's not long or anything, but you don't want it to become a sticking point where you're not getting to the main material, right? So those licks. Okay, and then the second lick that is tied to that main riff there. I'm going to jump out of that alternative E chord into a B major chord. That is string 4 fret 9, string 3 fret 8, and string 2 and 1 fret 7. But I'm going to arpeggiate it. So just walk straight up those notes. As I get to these two notes, I'm going to let fingers 3 and 2 go. And I'm going to hold this, reach over here with my pinky to string 1 fret 11, string 1 fret 7, and then string 1 fret 9 and string 2 fret 9 with my third finger, and then 7 and 7 on strings 1 and 2, 9 and 9 on strings 2 and 3, and then string 2 fret 7, string 3 fret 9 with a bend, and then 8 to 9, 6, 6 to 8, 4, 6 on 3, 6 on 4 is a lot to go through in that one just in terms of the fret numbers, but you know, I would say the thing to think about is that B chord. That's one little gesture, reaching up with that pinky. And then these little double stops here that we're picking through, I'm going to lay my finger flat because they're going to go together well. And I don't need to worry about separating them if I try and do too much work, right? Or it's just too exaggerated. We don't need all that movement. So B chord, pinky, and then the little double stops with the pads of the fingers. 9, 9, 7, 7, 9, 9 on strings 2 and 3, and then 7 on 2, 9 on 3 with a bend, and then 8, 9, 6, 6, 8, 4, 6, 6. So that can take some time. It also jumps into it pretty quickly out of the E chord, so you got to be prepared for it. But like I said, if it's too much, then just leave it out. Get the get the chord progressions and the other main riff, and you'll have plenty to work on. Chorus, same progression as the verse, same progression as the intro, as is the chorus. But we're just going to use a kind of a downward rape motion and then an up strum. So C sharp minor 7. I'm just doing this little hit on the strings. You can relax your fingers so everything is muted here. Down hit, up strum. Only one strum on the C sharp minor 7, and then directly into the G sharp major 3 times. And then A once, E 3 times. You're just looping that. C sharp minor 7, G sharp, A, E. So that's just a syncopated pattern. There's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the chorus, same progression but with power chords. Add some distortion. C sharp, G sharp, A, and then on the E, a little bit different strumming. Just 2 downstrokes on all 3 of these. And then the E5. That's just syncopated. And, C sharp, G sharp, A, and E, C sharp, G sharp, A, And the last part, I believe, is the little bridge. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to have a B5 chord here, string 5 fret 2, strings 4 and 3, 4th fret. Down strum that twice, and then you're going to lift your pinky and you're going to put your middle finger down. So we're coming off of string 3 fret 4 and then putting the middle finger down on string 3 fret 3. So there's one more strum on that B5, E5, G5. So B, 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 and then this is a B major 7, E, G. So there's 3 strums on each chord. The first 2 go together, then there's a little break, and one more strum, and immediately drop into the next chord. And then coming out of that bridge, you're actually going to jump right back into the progression from the chorus. C sharp to G sharp, A, E. So. Can't remember how many times. Maybe 4. Right here. And then the solo comes in. If there's interest in that, I'll go over the solo in another video separately. Not too much going on in it, but that's everything, guys. So like I said, kind of choose your own adventure, right? If you want to tackle those fills, they'll be great for technique, but approach it with the mindset of working on technique if you haven't done things like that before. If it's easy for you, great, then you have the notes to work with. But you want to continue to develop your hand, your left hand technique by understanding, right hand as well, by trying to figure out what is good and what is bad, right? When you're picking up a guitar for the first time, obviously that's not an easy thing to do because you have no frame of reference. But if you've already been playing a little bit, I have a lot of people that come to me and say, you know, I just can't, I don't have good technique, right? I can't fix my technique. I think the essence of that is just understand what is going to work on guitar and what is not going to work on guitar. And the way that you're going to do that is by trial and error. So if you're playing something and your hand is just all mangled up and not able to get into shapes easily, then, you know, am I putting too much pressure on? Is my thumb, something that happens to a lot of my students, they do, you know, thumb over here or their wrist is way up, and you'll see people do these things, but that doesn't mean that you should be doing it, and it doesn't mean that it's good technique, right? And you want things to feel as easy as possible, and that's how you build on you know, layers of complexity of what you can play. Because if you're moving tight and locked up and just gripping the heck out of the neck, then everything becomes a problem, right? So take things slow, as always. I think if you haven't done like bar chords, that intro is going to be plenty to work on, and then you can put the verse and chorus and bridge stuff together and leave the fills out, and then maybe tackle those at a later date. But let me know if there's any questions. Have fun with that one, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.